The 2010s was a weird decade for music. Any artist that has come up in the last 10 years has done so in a fragmented, social media dominated world. It is very hard to be a household name, because every household has a different set of names they hold dear. Drake, Ariana Grande, Frank Ocean and Kendrick Lamar all made names for themselves this decade, but there's less than a handful of British acts that would critically and commercially hit the same peaks. Adele and perhaps Ed Sheeran, and that's it. But this has fostered a generation of British acts unafraid to be pop in the broadest sense, but also intensely awkward and original in their own special way. Charli XCX, Alt J, Jamie XX and the 1975, but especially FKA Twigs. She wowed critics and those in the know with her early EPs and then her first album, LP1 in 2014. Her sound was her own unique brand of half-time trap beats, Kate Bush style eccentric soprano, atop a mesh of found sound sampling and industrial style electronica. Plus, her jaw-dropping live show made it so eyes and ears were turned in her direction, before she disappeared musically for the rest of the decade, only to reappear in 2019 with her finest statement yet, the fragile bombast of her comeback single. This is New British Canon, and this is the story of FKA Twigs' Cellophane. FKA Twigs was born Talia Barnett in Gloucester, England. Dance was a huge part of her life early on. She gained the moniker of Twigs due to the audible cracks her joints made when she danced. In 2005, she moved down to London to train and refine her skills. From 2010 to 2014, Twigs appeared as a background dancer in music videos for various British pop artists, including Plan B, Jessie J, and Ed Sheeran. While she became prolific because of her reliability and expertise, Twigs felt that the style of dancing needed for these shoots didn't put her intense training to good use. She expressed a dislike for appearing in Jessie J's price tag video in particular. I fucking hated it. Do you think I wanted to be dressed up as a puppet? As a doll, waving? No, but I was paying my dues. I'm sure Jessie had to do rubbish jobs as well before she was where she is now. I was a tiny cog in her wheel. But years after, Twigs got recognised not for her music, but as a music video marionette. Her song Video Girl is about her dissatisfaction by this tiny cog status. Alongside this dance career, she was making music. Because of her formative influences, it's very hard to pin her sound to a particular genre. She sang in jazz clubs in her youth, and yet her favourite album is X-Ray Spex Germ-Free Adolescence. Add to this, glam rock super producer Mike Chapman personally taught her how to structure her songs. Jazz, opera, pop and punk all collide under her own Twiggian banner, gaining fleeting comparisons to Massive Attack, James Blake and Jamie XX, as well as similarly singular artists such as Kate Bush, Björk and Prince. Despite this, after releasing EP1 at the end of 2012, Twigs soon found herself co-signed to the nebulous alt R&B genre. It's just because I'm mixed race. When I first released music and no one knew what I looked like, I would read comments like, "I've never heard anything like this before. It's not in a genre." And then my picture came out 6 months later. Now she's an R&B singer. Though she had left the music video background work behind, her music still retained a very visual element. All the tracks from her first 2 EPs were paired with short films, co-directed by Twigs. Particularly striking was the clip for Water Me from EP2, perhaps her best track at that point. It focused solely on her face, metronoming to the rickety beat. Before later, having her eyes inflate more than twice their usual size. It went viral, gaining 16 million views on YouTube, and Twigs caught herself a substantial following in time for her debut album. In 2014, she released LP1 to huge critical acclaim. Do I get another chance to pick up the final step? Her skittering beats, sound collage soundscapes, and truly impressive voice winning over a huge number of fans. While EP2 had been produced by Twigs and Yeezus Helmet Arca, her debut album was filled with production collaborations, including Blood Orange's Dev Hynes, Sampha, and Emile Haney of Lana Del Rey, Bruno Mars, and Kanye West fame. The latter co-produced with Twigs the album's lead single and key track, the shuddering, monolithic 2 Weeks. An intensely sexual song, it was compared to Prince and Aaliyah, but sounding distinctly alien. It outlines a situation where the protagonist is trying to persuade a potential lover away from his current beau. Its thesis statement definitely explains her logic. LP1 was nominated for the prestigious Mercury Music Prize, and big things were hyped for Twigs. Music hipsters the world over awaited her next album, but what happened next would characterize her follow-up. Between the release of LP1 and her follow-up, personally, FKA Twigs went through a lot. She started dating and got engaged to current Batman, Robert Pattinson. During this time, she was hounded by the tabloid press and continually attacked on social media by her fiancé's rabid fanbase for daring to date him. But she loved him, so she endured. When he broke off their engagement sometime in 2017, emotionally, it wrecked her, resulting in her spending a lot of time alone, wandering around her empty New York apartment, wearing extravagant medieval dresses and listening to Nina Simone.
But she breaks like a little girl.
Alongside this, Twigs had been suffering from extreme abdominal pain, which was eventually diagnosed as fibroids, hormonal growths on her uterus. In an Instagram post, she described it as 2 cooking apples, 3 kiwis, and a couple of strawberries, a fruit bowl of pain. I tried to be brave, but it was excruciating at times, and to be honest, I started to doubt if my body would ever feel the same again. Because her career is directly tied to the movement and control of her body, this was a serious concern, especially after she filmed an Apple Home advert with Spike Jonze, and she felt like her insides were glued together, her barely able to move. All this emotional and physical upheaval, this loss of everything, fueled Cellophane.
Didn't I do it for you?
Throughout my life, I practiced my way to being the best I could be. It didn't work this time. I had to tear down every process I'd ever relied on, go deeper, rebuild, start again. 5 years earlier, 2 Weeks had shown her at the beginning of her relationship, Twigs sounding her most extrovert. In its video, she's portrayed as a completely in control goddess queen. But in the aftermath of the breakup, she's more fragile. As such, Cellophane became one of Twigs' first songs where she's dared to be so nakedly vulnerable. Because she'd literally never experienced this form of heartbreak before. She told Zane Lowe about this shift.
Showing people like your heart when it's raw, it's vulnerable, you know? It's one thing showing people your heart when you're feeling like sexy and sassy and you're 22, 23 running around New York like Miss Thing. But then it's another thing where like, oh, I'm broken now, you know?
There's a simplicity to the lyrics of Cellophane, which highlight her emotions. It begins with questions, simple questions that show her inner monologue.
Didn't I do it for you? Why don't I do it for you?
But it's more than just her insecurity. This one is particularly desperate, but there's a camp wink and a hint of irony to it too. I don't know whether anyone else will get that though. It's funny that as women we're asking those questions without realizing how epic and iconic we are. The song's titular lyric though deals with her recent experiences with the tabloids, using cellophane to allude to her lack of privacy.
All wrapped in cellophane, the feelings that we had.
As much as she wants to keep her feelings safe and under wraps, the public is able to see into her life without her permission. For Cellophane and the rest of its album, Twigs wanted a cleaner sound than the audio miscellany that had characterized LP1. I find it easy to write over complete musical randomness, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted something simpler, something honest. Produced by Twigs, Michael Uzuiru, and Jeff Kleinman, Cellophane is an exercise in minimalism. Instead of skittering beats cloaked in reverb, it starts with Twigs' voice and a simple piano.
They wanna see us alone. They wanna see us,
before a simple beatbox beat sneaks in.
I just want to.
About the midpoint, the song distorts, the piano's notes being stretched, chewed up, and spit back out in mutated forms.
When all I do is for you.
On occasion, in a live setting, this mutant piano effect has been replaced by Bernard Herrmann-style horror strings, which gives it a similar "my life has disappeared beneath me" feeling.
Why won't you do it for me? When all I do is for you.
But the sparseness of the production makes it so her voice is indisputably the focus. At points, the backing cracking under the weight of her words.
I have no one to tell.
As always with Twigs, there's a very strong visual aspect to Cellophane, as portrayed in the music video. As she stated on Twitter when unveiling the clip, "When I wrote Cellophane over a year ago, a visual narrative came to me immediately. I knew I had to learn how to pole dance to bring it to life, and so that's what I did." Through commitment and training, which was interrupted by her fibroid recovery, within a year she was able to get to the point where she could pull off the incredible display that she had in her head. Combined with the video's visuals, Twigs wrapped around the pole with extreme precision. It highlights the subtle slyness of the lyrics. To be asking someone, "Didn't I do it for you?" whilst also doing these amazing tricks on the pole. To me, there's almost something humorous about that. It's sick and it's funny and it feels powerful, like I'm more than enough. You can't even handle it. Her displays weren't just for the sake of the Cellophane music video, but added to her already teeming array of live spectacles, alongside choreographed dancing, flamboyant costume changes, and whirling wushu swordplay.
A woman's time to embrace, she must put herself first.
FKA Twigs released Cellophane's parent album, Magdalene, on the 8th of November 2019. It was named after the biblical figure, Mary Magdalene. In interviews, Twigs compared herself to her, feeling that they were both incredible, accomplished people that had been ignored in favour of someone more famous. FKA Twigs doesn't want to be the little cog in someone else's wheel, whether that be Jessie J or Batman. As much as she's worked with producers and directors to refine her vision to be the best it can be, it's still her music, her dance, her art. Cellophane sits as the last track on Magdalene, and after an album of depression and self-reflection, the end feels like Twigs making her way to the other side of this trauma. The video shows this explicitly, with Twigs' rebirth from the mud. As she said, "Tear down, go deeper, rebuild, start again." She is not the artist she used to be. She's gone through emotional and physical upheaval, gained life experience and insight, and emerged victorious, or at least different. As she stated in 2014, "I'm appealing to people who want something different, but the world on the whole doesn't really embrace different things. Not on the whole." While you can still not easily categorize her, Twigs is making it happen. Whether it's those that have fallen in love with her music, or those that have seen her perform, such as her interpretation of Cellophane on Jimmy Fallon, it does more than just appeal. 5 years ago, she may have just been the video girl, with a subset of people hating, waiting, and hoping that she's not enough. But now she's too much to handle. It's the end of the video. Thanks for sticking with it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it was worth your time. If you absolutely fucking loved it, and maybe all the other videos I'm putting out, check out my Patreon, why don't you? It's got some cool rewards for cool people. You could have seen a version of this video a day early, or on Patreon. A big thanks to everyone who contributes, and I'll see you next time.